It's the KQ Morning Show, 92 KQRS.
I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show. Good morning. It's Wednesday, November the 29th. That was AC/DC Thunderstruck, which is a perfectly appropriate song at 6 in the morning in my world. Make no mistake about it. I was feeling pretty good. Now I'm feeling really good. Thank you. Thank you, AC/DC. I can't help but think about 1991, Monsters of Rock Tour in Europe. My former rock and roll combo, the Black Crowes, we were the opening band on that bill. 5 bands in stadiums in Europe. It was a huge deal. We went on at 3 in the afternoon, and nobody cared. But it was still great to be there. And AC/DC headlined that tour. Right before them, every night, Metallica played. And this is right when, the Black Album came out and Enter Sandman was taking over the universe. And Metallica would walk out on stage and just destroy. There'd be 60 or 70,000 people at every show. We played in Moscow, 600,000 people. And Metallica would walk off stage, and every night I'd go, who in their right mind would try to follow that? And the answer every night was AC/DC, and they opened with Thunderstruck.
Yeah.
And the lights went down, and the crowd cheered, and then as soon as Angus hit that, I mean, every night it was like, who the hell's Metallica? Because AC/DC was like, they were 15 years in, and Metallica was only 10 years in, and they still had seniority. And it was just mind-boggling to watch every single night. And Angus would warm up for 15 minutes. He would play that part. He always said it's the hardest part he ever wrote. He wished he hadn't. And he'd be on the side of the stage for 15 minutes just playing it obsessively because he was so concerned about getting it right. So by the time the show started, he'd already been playing that riff like 1,000 times. It was awesome every night.
And so Metallica had already played when AC/DC came out. Angus, your audience is smashed by now. They're not going to miss a note.
Good point.
That you don't catch. But I was just sitting here musing as you're talking about that, thinking what bands, because I've seen Metallica with Guns N' Roses, and they blew them away. Of course, Axl failed to show up for a lot of that set. That might have had something to do with it. Van Halen, Iron Maiden. I mean, I've seen Metallica with all these bands, and they paled in comparison. Of course, it was Van Hagar era, which is neither here nor there. I mean, they brought it pretty good with Sammy as well, but AC/DC is the answer, and that's the only one I can come up with.
Yeah, it was, and I was never a metal guy, and I wasn't necessarily, I didn't love Metallica's music, but you just couldn't you couldn't ignore the fact that that visceral reaction from tens of thousands of people, it's the last thing on earth you want to follow. I mean, Colonel Tom Parker had it right. He always loaded up Elvis Presley's bill with horrible opening acts by design. His thing was, no, man, when Elvis comes out, they're going to be so starved that, they're already excited to see the King. Now they're really excited to see the King. I can only imagine. There's a time in any ascendant band's career where you're the band no one wants you opening for. Like Van Halen famously opened for Journey in 79 or 80, and by the time the tour ended, Journey was just like, please get these guys the hell away from us, because they have all these great hits, and Neil Schon is a tremendous guitarist, but Eddie Van Halen at his young, hungriest apex, I mean, it was like, not a great idea right there. Oh, we could tell the rock and roll stories all day, and I don't know, hell, I'll pull up a chair. Well, I'm already in a chair. I'll pull up another chair for my feet. Let's do this. Actually, but I do want to talk about, okay, we are officially now in the holiday season. And after what I did to myself over Thanksgiving, quick update. Now I'm 2 days into hot yoga now. Back to back.
I don't understand. Are you trying to work through something, or are you just punishing yourself?
Just punishing myself for the punish. I'm punishing myself for having punished myself.
Right.
Just the food and drink over a long weekend was just so exorbitant and stupid. But now with the Christmas tree going up soon, and with the lights being every day, there's more Christmas lights. There's more and more and more. The temptation to just eat and drink and celebrate is making me nuts. But one of the good temptations is, of course, to gather around when the kids will be back in a couple weeks from college. We will watch a holiday movie or two. That's a staple. And there's a list of America's favorite holiday films to rewatch every year. I've got the list in front of me, and I'm just going to come right out and tell you, I'm not the average American, because not only is this not my list for the most part, I've never even seen 3 of these movies.
All right.
I'm feeling a little out. Okay, the number one movie, Home Alone. I saw it when it came out,
Yeah.
and here's the truth. I don't remember a thing about it. I don't even remember that it involves Christmas.
What?
Yeah, I saw it in a theater. I was probably drunk. Who cares? It's a kid's movie. I don't remember a thing about Home Alone. I've seen memes. I'm aware that it's the little Culkin kid, and I know he puts aftershave on his face and screams, and I know Joe Pesci's in it.
Yeah.
That's literally all I know.
He sure is in it.
Yeah.
And this is the most rewatched holiday classic according to a survey of thousands of American families.
It's one of those that just it happened. It's set at Christmas time, but it isn't like necessarily a Christmas
Like Die
movie
Hard.
like Die Hard. Yeah, exactly.
Right. Die Hard is a Christmas movie. But, right there, that's exactly. That's a debate right there. But Home Alone, I like you. I think I watched it once. I get it. It's the whole thing. But
Yeah.
this is a very unpopular thing to say, I'm sure. But, that's the hat I wear. Macaulay Culkin drives me nuts. I'm on the side. I want those guys to get him. Yeah, I want
you hate
those,
kids.
I want Joe Pesci to take him out in the worst way.
Yeah, I'm a Kieran Culkin guy myself.
Hate kids.
I go Kieran over Macaulay any day of the week. So yeah, I you want Joe Pesci to take him out. Maybe there's some outtakes that where there's accidents on the set, and
I guess life actually took him out. Really,
yeah, good chance of that. I missed the whole thing, and because I didn't care about it, because my wife doesn't care about it, I'd be willing to bet, and I can confirm before the end of the show. I don't know if either of my kids has ever seen Home Alone.
Have they ever been Home Alone?
They have. They've been Home Alone. But number 2 on the list is A Christmas Story, which I have seen. I saw that in the theater when I was in college. I love A Christmas Story.
Yeah.
I've watched it many times. I can put it on. They run the marathon on TNT or TBS every year. Right. I'll pop it in and I'll sit right in front of the TV and I'm good to go. My kids alternately couldn't care less. It's like. That movie is so old to them. That's like me watching a documentary about cave drawings. Like they are so bored with when is that? The 1930s? I mean, they can't take it.
That's how I feel about It's a Wonderful Life. I won't. No.
I've never seen it.
Ever?
Okay.
Ever?
Fun fact, nor have I. Never watched it. It wasn't I guess my parents didn't like it, so it wasn't on in the Gorman household growing up. We were the family that, by God, every time the Sound of Music it was on, it was like, get in here. Okay, we're watching Sound of Music again. Or The Wizard of Oz. There was a handful of those. It's a Wonderful Life. Never. I've seen scenes from it. Never once. Tony, what am I missing?
It's I'd call that a classic Christmas movie. It's surprisingly dark, though. If you look at it a different way, it can be very depressing and sad. I mean, it has a very happy ending. But the fact that he got there in the first place.
Yeah, I've glanced through enough think pieces to put that together that it's hardly. It's like that. What's the guy? Candace Krampus.
Krampus, yeah.
It's kind of sad Christmassy stuff right there.
Right.
Also on the list, and another movie I've never seen. 2 more. The Santa Claus. Never seen it.
That's
Never
my favorite.
seen it either.
What?
Nope.
You guys.
What is it?
I don't think. Is that the Tim Allen
Yes.
one? Yeah, I don't think. I think I saw like 2 or 3 by accident, just sitting there too drunk to get up and change the channel or to protest what we were watching. I'm like, sure, put it on. Why not? The edibles are kicking in. But yeah, no, I don't know if I've watched the first one or not. Yeah.
That reminds me. I saw a tweet yesterday. Someone said, some people work out before breakfast. I'm watching a TV show I hate because I dropped the remote on the floor. But yeah, Santa Claus. Tim Allen, right? That's what that is? Yeah, I've never seen it.
It's kind of hot. It's like his hot 90s era.
Oh, okay.
I didn't know there was one.
I mean.
Well, that was right in your wheelhouse, though, Wheeler. You were probably at that age where if it just, Christmas, snow, Santa, you're watching it. Yeah.
Oh, so good.
That's the ones we connect to when we're
Sure.
kids. Yeah.
Also on the list of things my kids could not care less about, and this hurt me as a young parent, both Charlie Brown Christmas and Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, they could not be bothered ever.
Wow. I'm the only one that wants to. First of all, Charlie Brown Christmas is just a little depressing. I love the Peanuts gang. I just watched the whole Thanksgiving Great Pumpkin deal. But that Charlie Brown one, it gets me. That's a tearjerker.
Slow.
It's slow,
but
but
it is so slow. Well, they made it in like 24 hours. It was like on a Tuesday. They said we need a show by Thursday or something like that. But what's the other? Oh, the Rankin Bass films. Now that I will settle in. You talk about a night to get a little jacked up and enjoy some of your youthful Christmas movies.
You'll never fit in.
I feel like I just want to be a dentist. That's all I've ever wanted to be was
Hermie.
a dentist.
I love it.
But my kids, I guess they're kind of in. I feel like that's sort of a polite thing. They're more of the Elf, Nightmare Before Christmas generation, Santa Claus.
Boy, Elf is a late entry, but it holds up, man. That's the one.
Does.
My kids will watch Elf anytime.
Yeah.
If you put it
Same.
on, they sit down and immediately stare at the TV.
We're going to see it they're showing it at a big theater this
that'd
year,
be
having
great.
like a big celebration.
Yeah,
It's all
right on.
sold out.
that's cool.
That would click. That would totally
What
work
makes
for the
it
Gormans.
big?
What?
What's
What makes
that?
it big? The theater, aren't they all big?
Oh, well, yeah.
Right. Yeah, I suppose you're right. That was redundant.
I'm
No,
a
big
dick.
theater.
Never mind.
Not a teeny
Move on.
It was a big
cardboard
screen.
theater.
What was a big screen? Well, sometimes they
We're
do
gonna
that.
see
as
it
well.
at a big.
I thought we were about to have an argument where I had to make the point that Big is not a Christmas movie, but that's a whole different thing. But
Sorry.
hey, by the way, to your points up, I will also die hard on the hill that Die Hard is a Christmas film. Of course it is.
Yeah, it is. I'm just going to squeeze it in there. That's a
Yeah.
dad Christmas film. No, we're watching this one.
Yep.
Although the kids, I think this year, as Taylor texted me, she wants to make one of the breakfasts from Elf. When he made that breakfast.
yeah,
with
the
Sweet.
and
spaghetti.
the Pop-Tarts and
Yeah.
A lot of
all that
sugar.
stuff, and then of course the syrup. It's
That's
one of the three
outstanding.
main food groups. The Lifetime holiday movie with a sex scene. They're featuring their first Lifetime holiday movie this year with a sex scene. They're just trying to get everyone involved. Maybe Mike Evans will have some insight into this. That's Hollywood scum. Not him. He's not high. He just reports on the Hollywood scum. That came off a little hard. Die Hard. Yippee-yi-yay, mother. Hang tight.
It's the KQ Morning Show. 92 KQRS.
I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show. It is time to head west, young man. The only man on record to turn down a wedding proposal from Elizabeth Taylor herself, Mike Evans, the Hollywood Report. Good morning, Mike.
How long did you have to think of that one?
You told me you and Liz had a thing there for a hot minute, or did it, maybe I made that up.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Hey, good morning. And this report brought to you by Marcus Theaters, proud to announce the Value Tuesday. Oh, it's gone. But next week it'll be back again. Value Tuesday, $6 for any movie, 20% off all concessions. My favorite theater at Marcus is the Oakdale Cinema, but hey, that's just me.
Bingo.
Love Nuggets, a couple of couples that we don't talk about, but they're normal, down to earth, very loving. First, 81-year-old Harrison Ford and the love of his life, 59-year-old Calissa Flockhart. They've been together now for 2 decades, and they show a lot of PDA, but I try to avoid the media.
Yeah, that's it's funny. I can't remember the last time I saw anything about the two of them. I didn't realize they were still together, and I sure didn't realize it's been that long.
Yeah. Next is Sarah Jessica Parker and Matthew Broderick. They've been married 26 years, very happily married, good kids, good for them.
Nice.
And although we haven't seen Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce together recently, it's only because of their work schedule. Friends say that they FaceTime a couple of times a day, that the relationship is stronger than ever, and they will be spending Christmas together. How about that?
But you know what, man? Lock them in an elevator for 8 hours and tell me how they do when that thing opens up. Then I'll believe it's true.
Yeah, there you go. By the way, speaking of Taylor Swift, her Eras concert movie cost $15 million to make, just surpassed $250 million global box office, makes it one of the biggest money-making films of the year when you consider amount that it cost to make and amount that it has made so far. And that movie, the concert movie, will be streaming December 3rd, but for rent. You'll have to rent it on your television.
Yeah, numbers aren't really my thing, but even I know that's good math if you can get it. 15 to 250 is that's good math.
Yeah, it is. Odds and ends. Dolly Parton says that she's low tech, but that's not the reason she doesn't text. She says she's busy with life, so she never accepts a text, never answers a text. I think I'll start doing that. That's kind of texting takes a lot of your time. You know what I'm saying?
I look forward to the day when I no longer have a mobile device.
I agree. Totally agree. Big secret. The royal family did everything it could to convince Taylor Swift to perform at King Charles' coronation, but she declined several times. Wonder what's up with that.
I don't know. I mean, it was kind of a, if she, well, first of all, if she's there, what's the point of having anybody else there? It's, do we really care about Lionel Richie's gig if you're waiting for Taylor? I think she was just being polite. Yeah. She was looking out for her fellow artists.
Mark Cuban is selling his majority stock of the Dallas Mavericks for $3.2 billion, which he originally bought for $250 million.
I did not see that. I don't know how I missed that story. Wow.
It happened last night. Mark is also going to work hard to bring casinos to Dallas. Oh, he also will control control of the Dallas Mavericks. He's also leaving Shark Tank after the 2024 season. I hope he'll be all right. I guess he'll be all right since he's worth $6.2 billion. Let me ask you a question, Steve. If you had $6.2 billion, would you work?
Please. If I had $6.2 billion, I don't know that I'd remain a decent member of society on any level, much less be the kind of guy that gets up early and goes to work. So wait, he's leaving. Hey, Mike, sorry.
Possibility that he may run for public office.
Okay, I'm sorry to cut you off. That's where I was going. I was like, wait, you just told me he's leaving Shark Tank and selling the Mavericks. That sounds like a man preparing to do something very big otherwise. And he's always flirted that whole third party run for president. I wouldn't be surprised.
There you go. Some movie news. Brendan Fraser has signed with Searchlight Pictures, my favorite studio, to star in a movie called Rental Family. Brendan will play an out-of-work actor living in Tokyo who is hired as an American, token American. Details are being kept under wraps, but I hear this is really going to be a hilarious movie called Rental Family. And something also a little odd to me, the movie The Hand of Dante is being shot in a small town in Europe, stars Jason Momoa, Al Pacino, Jared Butler, John Malkovich, Gal Gadot, and so many other stars, but nobody knows what's going on with this movie. It just sort of kind of leaked out.
Wow.
What the hell is that all about?
I don't know anything about it. Have they ever did they I feel like they did, or they were going to. At some point in time, did somebody remake It's a Mad, 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 Mad World? Or am I making that up?
There was a remake of that.
Yeah,
there was. Okay, because I saw just, online the other day, there was a piece about that movie, and I was just looking at, it had like 50 stars, and all I could think was, you could never make that today. And then I thought, well, wait, I think someone actually did. But yeah, obviously it didn't make much of a dent because we all had to think about it for a second.
And again, big stars don't necessarily mean big box office anymore, and that's getting more and more like that as time goes on.
Yeah, there's just not any cannonball runs out there anymore.
There you go. Hey, everything going good in Minneapolis, St. Paul?
Beautiful, beautiful. We're living in God's country, as they say.
Mm-hmm. Well, put on your scarf and your caps when you go outside.
Oh yeah, that's a standard. Thank you, Mike. See you, brother. I would have asked him how things were in Palm Springs, but we know it's pretty nice right there this time of year. The Mike Evans Hollywood Report, a daily staple, if you will, as is a history lesson. How about why don't we just learn a little something so we can truly say we're living? Because if you ain't learning, I'll shut up. Go ahead, play the thing.
This man is a creative genius. This gift that Steve has, it goes beyond just sports and
Music history.
You understand?
So, what happened?
Oh, I'll tell you what happened on this day in 1972, and I don't want to get into a fight about whether or not this is sports history, because to me it is. Pong was released.
Excuse me.
Pong was released on this day in 1972. Listen to that. Listen to that action.
Yeah, I'd rather not.
Come on, man. A 2D paddle, a square ball would bounce. The computer or another player just trying to hit it back. And yeah, Candace, let me tell you something. In the mid-'70s, this was called living large.
Yeah.
Wow.
Pong was Pong was everywhere, and by the time it made it into the homes of America, forget it, man. Mm-hmm. That was the beginning. It all changed with Pong. That's right. See, Candace, you see what you missed?
Right.
I'm jealous.
In 1987, on this day, Joe Montana of the 49ers completed 22 consecutive passes. At the time, that was a record. And when I think about Joe Montana, I just have to say, this past year at the Super Bowl, I interviewed him, and I said, Joe, do the modern rules wind you up? Do you watch games now and think about the damage you would wreak, the havoc you could put on the field if you had the protection in your day that modern quarterbacks have from the referees? And he looked me dead in the eye and he said, I think about that every effing day.
Wow. All right. Well, I'm glad he's enjoying his retirement.
My man, it was burning with a competitive streak, for sure. On this day in 2000, the NBA, for the first of only a few times, suspended a player for steroid use. Don McClain, not Mr. American Pie, but Don McClain, the basketball player of the Heat, was busted with a 5-game suspension. Charles Barkley said, Don McClain, I've seen him naked. That man does not use steroids.
That's great.
And, of course, as LeBron James, in his 21st year, leads the league in minutes played and is still one of the 5 best players on earth 21 years into his career. Oh, wait, hold on. I'm being told don't mention that. Shh. Don't talk about steroids in basketball. Sorry. It's the craziest thing ever. You tell me those guys in that league aren't jacked? Please.
It's the KQ Morning Show, 92 KQRS. Zep, Tony, Candace, and Steve Gorman are the KQ Morning Show, 92 KQRS.
I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show. It's Wednesday, November 29th. I don't know what my dad thought of that song, or in fact, if he ever heard it, but boy, I know he would have loved it because my dad was a whistler.
Yeah.
He was a whistler from way back.
What was his favorite tune? Would he have
He would do
staple?
this. He would always do these. It was little blurps, like little just quick shots. He's the guy who would walk across the room, and if he hopped over a dog toy, he'd go. Like he would whistle sound effects for things he was doing.
Yeah.
Okay.
But he used to kind of do this, or like if he'd say, all right, let's sweep out that carport, boys. And he'd go grab the push broom, and he would just give like 3 good shoves, like to remind us how to use a broom. And then he'd hand you the broom. But he would immediately go into as if he were sweeping for 10 minutes. He would have 5 seconds, but those 5 seconds, here you go. It was just like the minute he got busy, he was tinkering with anything. Son, hand me that screwdriver. All right, there we go. And it was like, wow. So, yeah, it just dawned on me listening to it. Man, my dad would have loved that song. He liked The Two of Us by the Beatles. I'm not making this up. You know, there's whistling at the end, and he'd be like, yeah. And I'd be like, okay, cool. My dad likes the Beatles now. Yeah, that's just how that went. That song "When to Change," by the way, I don't recommend people listen to anything other than KQRS, of course. But if you had to listen to a podcast, there's a podcast called "Wind of Change," and it's pretty great because, 1990, right after the Berlin Wall had come down, the Soviet Union is on the verge of collapse. And the Scorpions released Wind of Change, and it became one of the biggest rock singles in that part of the world ever. And it was considered the soundtrack to the fall of the Soviet Empire, the peaceful revolution sweeping throughout Europe. And that was the song people sang and I guess whistled. Mass, hundreds of thousands of people in the streets of all the former communist countries. And Wind of Change was like the soundtrack. And 20 years later, a guy who wrote for The New Yorker is in D.C., and he's always looking for sources and stories, and he's putting his nose into things where it doesn't belong. And a source tells him, oh, by the way, the CIA wrote Wind of Change, not Scorpions. Now, this sounds crazy, but this guy's like, wait, what are you talking about? And he goes and he checks with a few sources for stories from D.C., and all he's hearing from people is, yeah, there's something there. I've heard it, but nobody will go officially give him the So he goes on a quest to find out the real story of Wind of Change and how the CIA, the CIA is big on hearts and minds. That's their thing. You got to get the people on your side. Mm-hmm. And were they involved with the writing and promotion of that song? It's worth a listen. It's pretty fascinating stuff.
Yeah, Eddie Trunk stuff. That's Klaus said it's a fascinating idea. It's an entertaining idea, but it's not true at all.
Oh, but come on.
I'd like to give our CIA that kind of credit.
No, I don't know that it's true, but I sure want it to be. I'd like to think that for once the CIA did something kind of cool, like wrote a good song.
If they wrote a song and it accidentally triggered World War III,
Yeah.
CIA.
That's exactly how you know they didn't do it, because it led to peace. My brother-in-law, Paul Tyson, lifelong State Department guy, and he and my sister lived in Europe. They lived in Saudi Arabia and Kuwait and London, all like for years when I was traveling, and I'd see them all over the place because they were all, he's a State Department big shot, and I used to say to him, man, I could do. I mean, I got the perfect cover. I'm in a band. I'm on tour. Give me a mission or something. And every time he'd look at me and go, I am not with the CIA. I'm with the State Department. And I'd go, that's what you want me to think.
Yeah.
And he never laughed once because, honestly, it's just not that funny, I guess. Yeah. I thought I was being hilarious.
And he's thinking to himself, dude, I downloaded an app on your phone. We are following you. We're monitoring everything and everywhere you go. And,
you think that's a fan that came up and handed you a cassette tape that I knew you'd throw away in the lobby trash can? Think again. Think again, dude. It's one of those things. I always had the theory that, touring musician in a band of note, you could be a great spy, you could be a great serial killer.
Yeah, you're right. You're absolutely
good. Julia Child and Chuck Barris.
That's exactly right, man. I could have been the third member of the entertainment Illuminati. I don't even know what the hell I'm talking about at this point. But Zepp, you mentioned we've got a few crazy stories to get into today. This first one particularly of interest to me because I have my routine every 5-year regularly scheduled colonoscopy coming up very soon.
All right.
It's what. Don't say gross, Candace.
I
It's
said
a life
nice.
saver. Oh, I thought you said gross.
I'm a big supporter of colonoscopies.
Okay, have you had one?
I've had like 3.
Really?
Okay, now
at your age?
Weird.
Oh no!
It's a fetish.
Everything
no,
okay?
Well, my grandma passed away very young from colon cancer, so I just have always gotten them. But yeah, there's no sweat. The only thing that sucks about it for me, I hate the thing you have to drink like right before you go in.
Well, the prep is horrible.
Yeah, the bourbon.
Yeah.
I feel bad.
Fireball.
I'm like, here I am. I'm closing in on 58. I'm going to do it in 2024. I'm finally getting the colonoscopy.
You've never had one?
I just feel like,
You guys.
I do it manually myself sometimes, just to, everything feels good.
Yeah, sure. I've had. This will be my third because I got. I was approaching 50, and the guy said, I said, well, let's just go ahead and go for it. Same thing. I was just a little concerned about. Anyway, long story short, I've got another one coming up, and this is a story that kind of. At the University of Missouri Healthcare. I mean, I don't know what they're doing over down there in Missouri, but this is a pretty wild one. A 63-year-old man went in for his routine colonoscopy, and as the doctor fished that camera through the man's colon, they take it right up in there. He discovered something, not a polyp, thank God, not a tumor, nothing like that. He found a fully intact and obviously dead fly in the middle of the man's colon.
What?
Like the wings and legs, everything's still attached. Like not pieces of a fly, a fully intact fly right in a man's colon.
Okay, so that could not have gone through his stomach and the stomach bile and the large and the small intestine and ended up down there in the colon because it would not have been fully intact. It had to. Did it fly up his butt?
Well, the guy said when the patient was told, the first thing he said was, I guess I ate a fly, which, to your point, Zeb, I don't think so. The funnier part of the story was that the guy said, 2 days before the procedure, I had a meal of pizza and lettuce. Not a salad, but lettuce. Well, I had some pizza and lettuce. This guy sounds like he's got some issues going on. I think it's more likely that the fly came in through the outdoor as opposed to going down the throat.
Or was hatched in something that he ate.
Ooh.
Was it a maggot? You're right.
That's what it was. I bet you're right.
You had some maggot on the lettuce or however that were made, perhaps in the pizza. It gets down in there.
Yeah.
But then a maggot, so what you're telling me is a maggot ingested into our body can then form into a full fly and mature.
Man,
it's got to go through the entire maturation process. It has to grow into a fully intact fly. I don't know what the science there is. I think he had a funnel up his butt.
like to think so.
The Fly just
I think it's time for another sequel to The Fly.
Hey, wait a minute.
Help me.
I guess it answers that old question. Would that old lady have died that swallowed the fly? Perhaps she wouldn't have. She would have been just fine. Yeah.
A few years ago, a gastroenterologist found a ladybug in the colon of a 59-year-old man as well. The guy that found this fly said, look, I've done over 30,000 of these. I've never seen anything like this, so it's probably not something anybody needs to be concerned with. And oddly enough, the first time I had a colonoscopy, I mean, as long as we're just being open and honest here, the doctor found a fortune from a fortune cookie right there, fully intact. It was really weird. And they brought it out and it said, you never find out how tall you are if you're never in over your head. And I thought, wow, that's pretty good. Sure. Huh. Yeah. No idea how that got there though. That's actually not true. I'm sorry, I made that up.
We totally believe you.
There was a lot of stunned silence. I didn't want you guys to think I actually had fortunes in my colon. I mean, come on.
No. Perhaps you put them there with chopsticks.
Yeah, we've only known each other a year or so.
I do. I'm a fan of chopsticks, and I don't use chopsticks just to look like I'm cool and a world traveler. I just enjoy. It's like a challenge. I'm not. See, here's the thing. I can eat with chopsticks, but I'm okay at it, but I'm not great at it. So I always have to do it. It's like a challenge. And so, I'll sit down and I will just break them open, go. My kids, they were children, and they both liked sushi as little kids, which I was very happy about because I like sushi. My kids are like chopstick experts, man. My daughter uses chopsticks like she's never seen a fork in her life. I'm like, how are you that good with these damn things? Mm-hmm. It's fascinating. As far as I know, none of us have ever found chopsticks anywhere in our bodies. Not in a colonoscopy, but a guy in Vietnam. Headaches for months. Mm-hmm. Terrible headaches. Literally, finally, he's like, all right, that's it. I've got to go to the hospital. I can't stand the pain anymore. Shows up Sunday. They do a CT scan. They find a massive amount of swelling in his brain, but then they realize there's a couple of objects apparently in the scan that shouldn't be there. Yeah, he had 2 chopsticks jammed up his nose. Not the full length, but sections of chopsticks. One piece that was 3 inches long and another is almost 5 inches jammed up his nose, causing, as you may imagine, severe headaches. He told the doctors, I was in a drunken brawl 5 months ago, but I don't really remember what happened. So, but apparently this guy's drunken brawl, it also included as a special guest, chopsticks up the schnoz.
That's funny.
Yeah, you lost the fight, by the way.
I hope so. Oh, my God. Can you imagine if that's what the winner came out with?
So the guy, and I'm looking at the photos, there's the chopsticks, both parallel.
Yeah.
Now, one of them is like a half chopstick, they're not fully intact, but they're several inches long, jammed right into this dude's skull. What in the hell, man?
I mean, I've been drunk. We've probably all been drunk enough to where you can go, I don't remember how the night ended. But there's no way. I don't care how drunk you are. Chopsticks up the nose, you're gonna sober up pretty quick.
I get a little hair tickler up there, just a little bug or something like that. It drives me crazy. I just wouldn't you be picking that? And you'd feel these if you stuck your finger up your nose. You just weren't even curious because I'm looking at the X-ray here. I mean, they're fairly embedded up there in the nasal cavity. That had to be touching his brain.
Fine. Just, you know what? I don't need chopsticks up my nose. Go 5 months without picking my nose, and I'd need a straitjacket. I'd lose my mind.
Now that you just said it, I'm going to be picking my nose. If you'll give me just a moment.
Yeah, I mean, the ballast in my balance, the sanity ballast is a good nose pick, at least once a day. You just got to check it out.
I see you guys pick your noses all the time.
Guess who's trying to hide it? I mean, what do you think?
Yeah, this is not a Seinfeld episode. Yeah. I'm not concerned with whether or not you're going to want to go out on a date.
Just saying.
I'm just telling you, these things have to happen
all the time.
Yeah, picking it right now. Wait, that's
you
not
don't.
What'd you get?
Wait.
You know what? Guess what? I'm not going with the digging for gold anymore. I'm checking for chopsticks.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that's what it is. Candace, you don't see me when I'm constantly sniffing my fingertips, do you?
Yeah.
I definitely keep that one. I always try to keep that one hidden. Oh. No, I'll go for the nose pick, but, there's just that. Actually, I don't do that. But, I mean, I have on occasion. There's just sometimes where I'm like, what does that smell? And is it on my hands? And then, of course, people assume you're an OCD freak with fingertip issues.
I had a little cousin who would pick his nose and then wipe it on the TV screen.
On the TV screen?
Yes. Go, why is that blurry?
Oh, no, it's not on the screen.
Wow, of all the places.
Yeah.
Like a little cousin, was he truly like this is a toddler doing this, or was this kid
no,
like
he's
9?
Just short.
Yeah. He was like
no,
9.
Yeah, he was a youngster.
I remember maybe he enjoyed that. Remember that little buzz you used to get when you would touch a television screen? That little that little thing there? Maybe, I don't know, and then, when the snot on there, maybe that's a conductor that increases that little shock factor. I don't know why I'm trying to stick up for him.
Your young physicist cousin just breaking new barriers in the world of electromagnetic conduction through snot boogers.
And we got to get along here. Big seizure at the Minneapolis airport. Everybody's been talking about. Story's gone national. It raises more questions than it answers. That's a story we might have to get into here at 7:30. We do have a game show coming up here at 8 o'clock. We're going to be playing Who Rocks, and we have Skinnerd and ZZ Top tickets up for grabs. That's at 8 o'clock. Danny Trejo. I love Danny Trejo.
Oh, yeah.
The documentary is going to join us at 9 o'clock, so hang tight.
It's the KQ Morning Show. 92 KQRS.
I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show. George Harrison's Here Comes the Sun, of course, leads off side 2 of Abbey Road, the final Beatles studio album. That was when the Beatles music all went up online officially with Apple Music. The most, and to this day remains the most streamed Beatles song of all of them, which is kind of mind-blowing to think about. George Harrison died on this day, November 29th, 2001, and so this is a little a little under 3 months after 9/11, and I was in New York City, living in New York City at the time, and I woke up on the morning of the 29th, and everybody knew George Harrison was very ill, but in the last month or so of his life, it was definitely kept secret that he was that bad off, that he was so close to the end. And I remember this day waking up, walking into the den of our apartment, and the TV was already on, and the Today Show was on, and I just saw his picture, a black and white photo of George Harrison, and that song was playing, and I immediately realized, oh my God, George Harrison died, and I just burst into tears. I mean, I was just bawling my eyes out, and a big part of it was just the following, after 9/11 for a few months, it was like this collective, just still a state of shock in New York. And there was so much sadness around at all times. It was like an impenetrable thing for me to actually just cry and let it out. Everybody was walking around kind of zombied. And it was George's death that actually kind of blew open a lot of emotions for me. And I, like so many people, went to Strawberry Fields in Central Park that day. I went and gathered with a million other Beatles fans right across the street from John Lennon's building, the Dakota, at Strawberry Fields, which is a part of Central Park. And that was just a day where I felt like really connected. Because 21 years earlier, when John Lennon was killed, I was a kid in Kentucky, and I was watching people in Central Park thinking, I need to go there. I'm going to go get a bus ticket. I have to go be where all the Beatles freaks are. And so 21 years later, sadly, I had a chance to and took advantage of it. But, boy, George's death really just wiped me out. It's that thing of, like, the Beatles are such a big part of my life. And like so many people's lives, of course. But for me, that's the one thing that I've never had a moment when I was like, yeah, I think I'm over that. Other bands I've loved, other movies, other things that are important to me. There's times in your life when it just doesn't resonate as much. You're at a different place, but that's never, ever happened with the Beatles music as a band and their solo stuff. So anyway, George, 22 years later. And by the way, now that we're here, let me just get this off my chest. He died in Los Angeles at Paul McCartney's house, which, that was also something that was kept under wraps for a long time. There was always people talking about the tension between the two. But when George wanted to go somewhere and have his last moments, his last days, knowing that was where he was, and he wanted to be, have some privacy, of course, Paul took care of him. He asked, can I go? And yes, they were there. And, it just speaks to the relationship those guys had that goes beyond little business arguments towards the late 60s really speaks to the whole thing about there was only 4 guys in that band, and they're the only ones that could ever understand what it was. And at that time in George's life, he went home to Paul's home. And, I don't know. It's just a lot of magic in those guys.
Are you going to start crying again?
I could. I literally could.
Mm-hmm. Well, get ready for more sadness. That's what I'm thinking about this new John Lennon documentary. I'm thinking, I'm not going to watch this. I'm in a good mood. It's the holidays. Life is rocking along. I don't want to go there, but I will.
Yeah, what this is
going to be agonizing. John Lennon, Murder Without a Trial, coming to Apple TV Plus. This is going to be a new docu-series that's premiering very soon here on the 6th. I don't know exactly what was that, Monday on Apple Plus? Apple TV Plus, rather.
I don't want to see it, so of course I will watch every second of it.
Every second of it. Here's a little clip of the trailer.
Lennon was walking in, and this kid says, "John Lennon." This guy just shot John Lennon.
The alleged killer is Mark David Chapman. David Chapman is a photographer from Hawaii.
He actually apologized to us. He said, "Gee, I'm sorry I ruined your night." And I says, "You got to be kidding me. You just ruined your whole life."
His intention was to bring fame to himself.
Was religion a motive?
And he said, "My name's Mark David Chapman. You'll remember my name."
Nobody's ever given peace a complete chance. Gandhi tried it, Martin Luther King tried it, but they were shot.
Oh, man.
Hate Chapman so much.
Ugh.
Yeah, what's he doing now? He tried to get an acoustic gig somewhere. Someone actually booked him and then canceled it because of the public outcry. But he's living with mom now or something like that?
No, he's not out of prison.
Which one am I thinking of?
You're thinking of Hinckley.
No, whatever. Hinckley,
maybe
Chapman.
Somebody.
One of those early 80s shooters.
No, I don't think. No, Chapman's not getting out anytime soon.
All right.
Unless I missed that.
I don't know.
I think John Hinckley was the guy who had a gig, maybe booked or something. But as far as I know, Chapman's still in prison. What are you going to do? Again, that's the last thing I want to see. So, of course, when does it premiere? Monday? I'll be watching.
Yeah.
Whew, man. Wow. Okay, now I'm all sad. Now I got to get it back together. Now I got to rebound. How about this? You just told me this, Brian. I was unaware. Apparently, a plane just decided screw the airports. I'm going to bring this sucker down where I want. What is the story from yesterday?
Oh yeah, here we go. I've got the news story right here. Sorry, I was back to the John Lennon stuff. All right, getting off that. This happened yesterday morning, Brooklyn Park, Highway 81.
What a sight earlier today after a small car just going down the road is suddenly hit by a plane that had lost power.
They both were just twirling like a top for a second there.
A small plane lost power, was going down and spinning. A driver on the ground nearby was watching it all unfold until the small aircraft hit power lines and then crashed right into a small car in Brooklyn Park.
I think it took the car spinning with it as well. It hit it with quite a bit of force, and the lights went down on the entire road immediately.
A train was on the nearby tracks. There were buildings and homes around, and of course cars on the road. Going down, the pilot had to make a choice, deciding 81 was the best option. The landing gear snapped off at some point. Both the aircraft and the car were heavily damaged, but incredibly, the pilot and the driver walked away with just minor injuries.
Wow.
Eek.
I'll be honest. I hear that story, and my first thought is Brooklyn Park, a little north and to the west. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I know where that is.
Yeah.
I'm still just getting used to where all of the many towns of the metro area are on a map. I'm so impressed with myself when I get one right.
Yeah, you're right. Just a little north and a little to the west up there, Highway 81. And they've got their little airport right there. But this guy, it sounded like it was a pretty... some pretty, deft piloting there to get that just down on the road and not into a house or plow into the train on the tracks.
Yeah, the striking the power line is what really got me. Oh man, that's scary. That can only go poorly. But this guy clearly did a heck of a job. The fact that the driver of the car and the pilot only had minor injuries. Well done, dude.
I wonder if you even see that in your rear view. So he rear-ended this car. It said it hit pretty good, and they both started spinning. So you're just cruising along there. You check the rear view. Well, there's no one back there. All of a sudden, just a plane coming out of the sky. No big deal.
Yeah, I wonder if the guy had a dash cam, and I say that because I went down a rabbit hole recently. There's an Instagram account. There's one called Fail Drive and one called like Dash Cams, and it's just nothing but car crashes captured by cameras on people's dash. And I literally looked up, and I'd been staring at them for like 47 minutes, and I was like, "What am I doing? Oh my God, I've got to turn this off." I would like to think, hopefully, yeah. Can you imagine a plane landing right behind you? That'd be pretty good.
Yeah.
Assuming everybody's okay, that'd be pretty good. And speaking of planes landing and things being where they shouldn't be, customs agents over at MSP at the Big Boy Airport a few days ago seized thousands of syringes. The U.S. Customs and Border Protection said thousands of syringes were discovered in a shipment from Hong Kong that was bound for home in Woodbury. They found this during an inspection. Actually, it was about 10 days ago, November 20th. Pink packaging. The syringes appeared ready for resale, but this was a violation of the Federal Food, Drug, and Cosmetic Act because what were in these syringes? Apparently, an unapproved vaginal tightening gel.
Whoa.
Words I've never said before, all in the same sentence.
I didn't think you were going there.
I'm not going there. I'm just reporting the news.
I didn't even know there was such a thing. So there is such a thing. First, you've got to get your mind wrapped around that. Okay, there's a thing. That's there. Who the hell is buying this? You know, a carton of cigarettes, a stereo perhaps fell off the back of a truck and a guy's got a deal for you. I get it. Vaginal tightening gel, anything that you're going to inject into your body for any purposes, you're just buying off the street out of someone's basement? I mean, come on.
Well, it's pricey.
Whoever's buying that just has an asshole boyfriend. You know, it's like you're too.
My gosh.
Like why would you buy that unless your asshole boyfriend told you that you need to buy it?
Wow. Goodness gracious.
Well, yeah, I don't know about that, I guess. I don't know if this is something that a woman discovers for herself or...
I don't think I could do that. I don't think I would notice if it was loose or not unless someone told me.
It's a holiday season, though. It could make a perfect gift.
Call me crazy.
Little stocking stuffer.
Right.
Look, I'm no biologist, but something tells me that if you've got a problem with that particular looseness, there's not a gel solution.
No,
I don't think topical and tightening don't really make sense to me. There could be a muscular situation. There could be some exercises. I don't know.
Right.
There could be any number of things, but something tells me that no, that's not going to come in a gel that you order from someplace in Hong Kong.
Right. What do they call that? Kegling, I guess. Is when you just do the old exercising, the old manual method. Yeah, I don't know. We did a story here at the beginning of this year that men were using Botox in the scrotum to, smooth out the sack. Like your sack is not supposed to have wrinkles. We're too concerned. I mean, listen, we've all been down there. We've had a good time. I don't know that the lights were on and I was inspecting anything. It's just, it seems like one of those areas you can get away with looking a little ugly.
I'm not doing any kegels unless someone tells me to do them. Let's just say that.
Start kegling.
Yeah, right. I think we covered that in last week's meeting, didn't we? Tony. That was for Tony. I'm sorry. Tony,
right.
Have you been doing your kegling?
And it's worked.
All right.
I'm feeling so much stronger and taut.
You're not going to need any gel to tighten things up down there?
Dang it, that was your Christmas present.
Seized at the airport now. 25, what was it, 1,100? Anyway. All right, so apparently, they know where they were going, so they're going to bust this lab, one of these back alley basement lab kind of things where people go, because there was the lady down in Mexico. We had the story that was injected. She went down there for butt implants, where they put, I don't know what they put in your butt to implant it to make it bigger, but this person down in Mexico, she was getting it in the back of some gas station, was using caulk, like the caulk you use on your bathroom.
Oh my God!
Yeah, and it killed her. It poisoned her. Yeah, filled up her butt with, caulking, and ended up killing her.
I gotta say, I rarely find myself speechless, but it's gonna take a while for me to process and get over the Tony Lee Cagle plan that we were just discussing a moment ago.
Keep an open mind.
The things I never expect to hear in a day.
Yeah, I'm gonna go practice saying Culk, not Culk.
Macaulay Culkin.
It's the KQ Morning Show, 92 KQRS. Zep, Tony, Candace, and Steve Gorman are the KQ Morning Show. 92 KQRS.
Just what I needed by the Cars. Hey, looks like the Minnesota Wild got just what they needed, which was a new coach. We talked about the fact yesterday Dean Evison was shown the door. John Hines came in, and last night at the XL Energy Center led the Wild to a 3-1 victory over the St. Louis Blues. The man is 1-0, people.
I wonder if they'll ever lose again.
I can't imagine it ever happening again. There's a rumor being floated around. Maybe this is just the word on the street, but Candace, did you go to a Wild game last night?
Yeah, that's why they won, right?
See, you've kept it under wraps this whole time. What was the vibe in the building? Was it in fact Grateful Dead night?
Yes, there was a lot of tie-dye.
Any pot?
Probably. There was a lot of excitement. Coors Light.
Was the excitement over the tie-dye or was it over the hockey or both?
I was just happy to be with my friends, you know. It was just a good night out.
So you would have been fine being at Arby's with your friends, is what you're saying.
Hell yeah.
That was pregame.
Wow.
No, it was really fun. It was nice to have a win, and good vibes, you know. And Nordy was so cute. I just love Nordy.
We know you love Nordy. I want to know what you thought of the team. I mean, the game itself.
Yeah, they did great.
See? Okay,
they
that's
won.
all I'm looking for.
Woo!
As we said yesterday, sometimes you just need a new voice in the locker room, and apparently that was the case because, oh boy, hey, like you said, Zep, this is all over now. It's all over but the shouting. Book a long run for the playoffs, thanks to the new guy, John Hines. That's exciting.
I got to tell you, we snicker every time you say John Hines. There was a radio personality. He's retired. I think he moved down to Florida now, but for many, in fact, you mentioned one of his radio stations yesterday, K102. He was in this town for about, 40 years doing radio. John Hines.
Good guy.
Good guy. So every time you say John Hines is he'll never be the Wild coach.
Sure, okay.
Whoever this John Hines is with a Y in his name, like some frickin' Canadian or something. But anyway, good luck, John Hines, wherever you are in Florida. I don't know who this guy is.
Yesterday, we gave away tickets to that game. I think her name was Darcy who won the tickets. Or was that 2 days ago?
No,
that was yesterday.
Yeah, yesterday. And she and her daughter I hope they had a great time. I imagine they did. We had a good time thinking about the great time they were going to have. So let's hope that all played out the way we were hoping. So we gave hockey tickets away yesterday. Today on the KQ Morning Show, we've got tickets to see a little something called the Sharp Dressed Simple Man Tour, which is Leonard Skinner and ZZ Top together. August 30th at the Treasure Island Amphitheater. We also have, as a runner-up prize today, a 4-pack of tickets to the St. Paul Ice Fishing and Winter Sports Show. That's at the St. Paul River Center this weekend. It's time for a game, ladies and gentlemen. Tony, what is today's game?
Very cool. Let's play this for those. Yep, Who Rocks? Just some simple and, to test your knowledge, trivia about Skinnerd and ZZ Top. Multiple choice. You pick the right one. By God, you win.
I like it. Every time we play this game, the Who Rocks always catches me by surprise. I like it every time. Makes me happy. All right, we've got 2 callers ready to roll. Candace, who's contestant number 1?
Okay. We have Michelle from Randolph.
Michelle, good morning.
Good morning.
Michelle, can I ask you a question? Do you, in fact, rock, Michelle?
I do.
I'm glad to hear it. Excellent. Well, we've got tickets to see Skinnerd and ZZ Top do just that August 30th at Treasure Island Amphitheater. If you win them, they're yours. So let's play Who Rocks. Take it away, Tony.
All right, Michelle, ma belle. Number 1, Leonard Skinner's band name is A, a character from the Bugs Bunny cartoons, a smart-ass southern raccoon from the Florida Everglades. B, a variation of the name Leonard Skinner, a high school gym coach they had and would make fun of. Or C, a Waffle House menu item, a platter of grits, eggs over easy, and raisin toast. What do you think?
Wow.
I'll go with B.
You are correct.
The crowd is cheering.
Mm-hmm.
That is correct. But boy,
Really?
you had
Okay.
yeah, Leonard Skinner. They're the PE teacher. So you just had to go with a Waffle House drop, didn't you, Tony? You're just killing me with that.
Oh, it does not sound good.
If you were going to name a band after one of your high school teachers, does any name come to mind?
Mr. Stallwick.
No, Michelle?
No.
Okay.
What teachers?
I had a guy named Wayne Goolsby. I'd love to be in a band called Wayne Goolsby.
That's good.
It sounds like a good band name. I'm not, yeah. Or maybe Paul Brunstetter. No, I'd go Wayne Goolsby. Okay.
Would you guys sit in the back and go, Goolsby?
We should have. We certainly. He wore bow ties. So, what are you going to do?
Oh, Goolsby.
All right, Michelle. Good, strong start. 1 for 1. Let's keep it up.
Michelle, number 2. Before choosing the name Leonard Skinner, the band went by the names The Noble Five, The 1%, and also this name. A, My Backyard. B, My Big Toe. C, My Big Bottom.
A.
Correct.
Wow. Bam.
My Backyard.
I've never heard that before. Wow. You learn something new every day around here.
Right on. Number 3, Skinner's singer Ronnie Van Zant preferred this on stage. A, to wear Crocs. B, to be barefoot. Or C, to use Dr. Scholl's comfort insoles in his boots.
B.
Correct. Ronnie loved to sing barefoot.
Man, slow and steady winning the race, Michelle. Well played.
Number 4, band members of Skynyrd went to school together in A, Jacksonville, Florida, B, Madrid, Spain, or C, Wauwatosa, Wisconsin.
A.
Yeehaw.
You're just throwing softballs now, Tony. Come on.
I know. Shell, you got one more.
Barcelona.
Okay.
It was Madrid. Even
Whatever.
after 3 gold albums, ZZ Top bassist Dusty Hill wanted to do something else with his time. He worked A, at the Dallas airport, B, at a Dairy Queen in Nebraska, or C, at Toys R Us in Denver.
A.
Right on.
Wow.
Smoked it. Way to go,
5 for
Michelle.
5, or as they say in Madrid, Spain, 5 for 5. See what I did there? Well done, Michelle. In fact, you couldn't have done any better. So, man, so much for just clearing the bases on that one. Sit tight. We're going to see if contestant 2 can match you with a perfect score. Candace, who is contestant number 2?
Betsy from Zimmerman.
Betsy, good morning.
Good morning.
Betsy, do you rock?
Yes, I do.
I'm happy to hear it. You're going to have to rock this game. Michelle just went 5 for 5, so we've got fingers crossed. We wish you all the best.
I'll mean it.
Nah, you got this. Come on, Tony.
You got this. I love the name Betsy. Number 1, when Ronnie's brother Johnny Van Zant stepped in to be Leonard Skynyrd's new lead singer, he couldn't sing this song at concerts at first as it was too emotional. Was it A, When Doves Cry, B, the Happy Birthday song, or C, Free Bird?
C, Free Bird.
Yes, sir.
Man, the idea of Skynyrd whipping out When Doves Cry, that's the mashup we all need.
Number 2, in Skynyrd's song, That Smell, what is it that's in Ronnie Van Zant's way? Was it A, a large elk, B, oak tree, or C, a store display stack of pork and beans?
I don't really know, but I'll say A.
Oh, I'm sorry, not a large elk. It was, sing it, everybody. Whiskey bottle, brand new car,
Yeah, got
a
it.
large elk, you're in my way.
Gotcha.
That was Gary Rossington who wrapped his car around a tree. That song was a love song from Ronnie to Gary.
Wow. All right, Betsy, we're still gonna run out the side and see how you do. Hang tight. Hang tough, I should say.
You can do it. In ZZ Top, the only member to be clean-shaven was A, guitarist Billy Gibbons, B, bassist Dusty Hill, or C, drummer Frank Beard.
C, Frank Beard.
Correct.
There you go.
All the guys. Number 4, the famous hot rod in the ZZ Top videos was A, 1974 AMC Gremlin, B, a 33 Ford Eliminator Coupe, or C, a 98 Kia Sedona minivan.
Well, I know it's not C, so let's see. We'll say A.
Oh.
Oops, not the gremlin.
No, I don't know what it was.
All right, the cool coop.
Boy, I wish it had been a gremlin.
I know.
Yeah.
Trick that out.
Would have been awesome.
Your last one in the early 70s, Lynyrd Skynyrd got their big break and gained momentum opening for what band? Was it A, The Who, B, The Mosquitoes, or C, Insane Clown Posse?
That's a tough one, but I'll say The Who.
Yes, the Quadrophenia tour. Steve, who were the Mosquitoes?
The Mosquitoes are a band who washed ashore on Gilligan's Island, if memory serves.
You are correct.
And they had that great song, He's a Loser.
And then they saved everyone and they took them back to civilization with them.
They meant to. They meant to.
Yes.
Something went awry, as tended to happen on that particular island. Betsy, 3 for 5. Not a bad round at all. But sadly, only enough to get you into the St. Paul Ice Fishing and Winter Sports Show. A 4-pack of tickets that's going on this weekend. Michelle, my bell, 5 for 5. You do, in fact, rock. And August 30th, you'll be rocking with Skynyrd and ZZ Top. Congratulations, Michelle.
Thanks,
Perfect score. Well done. Man, I'm just stuck on Skynyrd doing When Doves Cry now.
I think that'd be a hell of a
Look,
cover.
if you will, a picture. I mean, come on, man. That would be incredible.
I think Prince did an a cappella version of Freebird there for a while. Yeah, that was. So you can find that on YouTube.
Are you being serious?
No, I'm not.
Because
You rascal.
I swear to God, no. But Prince is the one artist where anytime anyone says anything, you have to go. I kind of see it. I mean,
You know what? He might have.
He's
Now
done
that
some
he could
cool
do it.
covers.
he could pull it off. He certainly could.
Absolutely. Remember, he did Best of You at the Super Bowl. He just kind of acapella'd that bad boy and killed it.
He sure did. The Black Crowes opened for ZZ Top in 1991, and the first day of the tour was in New Orleans, early January, and we walk into the arena, and this is there's huge tours, like multiple nights in arenas, everything's sold out. ZZ Top's just ginormous at that time. And we walk into the arena, and they're sound checking for what turned out to be the only time on the whole tour. And they're on stage, and they're just wearing like jeans and jackets and regular street clothes. And Billy Gibbons is playing a Les Paul, and Frank's got Dusty's got a P bass, and they are just playing straight like Tres Hombres songs and full on Chicago blues.
Nice.
And they're just jamming for an hour, and we all stand there. And Billy Gibbons is just roaring. And we're like, oh, my God, this is going to be unbelievable. What a tour this will be. And then that night on stage, they're in the fuzzy guitars, and there's conveyor belts and dancing girls. It's nothing like what they were sound checking. Oh, wow. They were putting on such a show. And at the time, we were like, oh, come on, man, this is nonsense. And, of course, the show was awesome. It was great. They'd done that for years. Now they're like, yeah, we're going to cash in and have some good times. But so we watched their sound check, and then they finish. And we're all just standing there. We're obviously the other band in the arena. There's 6 guys standing there with long hair going like, you guys are great. And they come over, and they're super nice fellas. Hey, good to see you. Good to see you. Glad. Welcome to tour. Things are going good. And Dusty, the bass player, comes over, and he goes, hey, man, good to have you guys out here. I listened to your record. I like it. Got a good little band. And we're like, well, thanks, Dusty. And he goes, well, listen, man, y'all have a good tour. And he turned around and walked away. And we all kind of laughed. And our bass player, Johnny, goes, man, wouldn't that be funny if, like, literally we never saw him again? And we never saw him again. We were out with them for like 3 months. The first thing he said, all right, have a good tour. He's like, I'm not going to pretend we're friends. Get the hell out of my face, you bunch of punks. We saw Billy a few times, but that was it. But literally, have a good tour. We were like, well, we're not going to be with you anymore. That was it. That was okay. I mean, he's, for all accounts, a great guy, but I can't say I found out.
Yeah, that's Texas hospitality right there.
Sure. Hey, man, the guy was a realist. I had about 600 bands open for me, and I don't care anymore.
They come and they go.
That's it. I understand.
Well, listen, here at 9 o'clock, Hollywood's one and only badass, I think Danny Trejo is going to join us. He's promoting, I know, Danny. Promoting,
he's a legit badass.
Oh, legit. The real deal. Mm-hmm. And he's talking cookbooks, holiday sweaters, and his non-alcoholic tequila.
Of course.
I think it's called kerosene. I'm not sure. But we still want to talk to him. Here at 8:30, If you're looking to drive a coworker nuts today, I know I am, nothing will kick up the dirt faster than a divisive question. Tony asked one this morning. Is Die Hard a Christmas movie? Just ask that at work today and watch. Somebody's going to blow their top. And so we have many more of those questions. Some divisive questions, idea starters to pass along here at 8:30. Hang tight.
It's the KQ Morning Show. 92 KQRS.
I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show. In 30 minutes, Danny Trejo will join us. Trejo, boy, what a great actor. What a tough guy. What an amazing life the man has led. And he's got a new book out. He's got an alcohol-free tequila. Whatever he's selling, I'm buying. One of the few men who literally has earned the right to pitch whatever he wants. You can't. He's just a badass.
Yeah.
I mean, just his life story is literally. It feels like it's fiction. He's joining us in 30 minutes. I look very forward to that.
Yeah, I'd buy the non-alcoholic tequila. I would add alcohol.
Well, sure,
but I mean, just to support Danny.
Yeah, of course. I mean, if he, like I said, if he's selling, I'm buying. Here's something. Kids ask a lot of questions. The younger the kid, the more of the questions they ask. My kids are 23 and 21, and the only thing they ask is, "Where's some money? Let's have it."
Yeah.
But when they were little, man, they were asking a lot of questions. A poll of parents with kids 6 and under found the average child asks 11 questions a day. That's over 4,000 a year. Okay, now, and I mean, Zep, our kids are kind of the same age. Tony's got younger kids. I'm just glad that I raised kids in a time where there was Google, because my kids would ask me questions all the time. What is thunder? And I'd be like, hang on, give me a sec. Because I wanted to be able to give them information. I wasn't necessarily trying to make it look like I was a genius at all. I just would say, well, we can find out. When I was a kid, and I would look at my parents and say, like, what is thunder anyway? I mean, literally the answer was usually something like, finish your Brussels sprouts.
Yeah,
it was just, it's there. I don't know. Ask your teacher. I tell you what, if you study in school, you'll learn the answer. Whereas, and then when I'm of age as a parent, I'm just trying to find the answers to every damn thing, because apparently they say that parents really know less than half the questions your kids ask. There were some doozies, like literally along the way, and some were really, really simple, and you just forget. You're like, wait, I know I should know the answer to this, but it's kind of amazing to think that you're on the hook 11 times a day to a child who, to a kid, their parents. You're the sun and the moon and the stars. You're gravity. You're the universe. And it's a lot of pressure. And I just didn't want to be the universe that didn't know anything. So, a lot of Googling going on.
I just thought the sooner I let him down, the sooner we can get on and get back to our lives.
Get used to the disappointment.
Yeah,
attaboy.
Yeah, you don't get to know that. No, my mom always used it to try and channel. Mom was always one of those trying to get me to not ride a motorcycle, not play football, be a doctor, be a lawyer. So every time I'd ask a lot of questions, Mom would go, "Well, Brian, you ask a lot of questions. I don't know. You should be a lawyer. Lawyers ask you. I don't know, but who knows? Doctors, they know the answers to everything."
Yeah.
I did hear one time that wasn't my kid, but it was fantastic. And the son asked, "Dad, are there infinite words?" And he said, "No, there aren't infinite words, but there are infinite numbers." Kid sat there for a second and thought and said, "Well, if there's a word for every number, then there must be infinite words."
Good point.
Dad said, "Just finish yours."
Oh, wow.
I know. When they outsmart you, they do that sometimes too.
That literally just made me feel like Pinto in Animal House. Oh, wow, man. Could I buy some pot from you, Zep?
Yes, you can.
That is fantastic.
I posed to Hudson and August just a couple days ago the old what came first, the chicken or the egg, and you could just see the smoke coming out of their ears as they thinking so hard. Then they started to wrestle.
Yeah, wrestling. That solves everything.
We're not going to come up with an answer, but we're going to hurt each other. Is that work, Dad? Is that cool? Is that going to help? Man. Oh, I love that. I love you just stumping the band like that and then them turning to violence to come to a peaceful resolution through violence. That's good sibling action right there. The greatest the story of why about like biology and body parts that my daughter asked when she was 3 started because of a statement she made. She was misinformed. It was her older brother's birthday. He was turning 5. No, he was turning 5. So the month earlier, she had just turned 4 because they're 23 months apart. So there's that 1 month where they're on the calendar 1 year apart from each other. And at her brother's birthday, she just said, "When I'm 5 and I get my penis, I think what I'm going to do is go to the." And I mean, the room just stopped.
Right.
And I said, "Marley, what?" She says, "When I'm 5 and I get my penis." I was thinking that. And her brother, who's turning 5, he just goes, "You're not gonna get a penis," and laughing, and she was devastated, and why she thought that was going to happen, and so of course we're like, "Honey, that's true. You're not. So why did you think that?" And she was like, I just thought. And she basically said, "I swear I thought one of you told me that once." Like she was trying to cover, even at 4. Yeah. She's like, and then so that led to a whole question and answer period about biology and body parts, which hey, it was a tough day for her, but we still laugh about it. We still remind her all the time that yes, that's right. You were of that mindset at one point.
So you were born without.
That was a tough one.
Yeah.
We had a question earlier in the show that sparks every year around this time. Speaking of questions, is Die Hard a Christmas movie? And this is not me just trying to throw gas on a fire. I'm always blown away that people get so agitated by the question, because to me, it's so clearly and obviously and fundamentally a Christmas movie. I just don't understand what the controversy is.
That's the controversy. People want to get worked up because no, it's not about Christmas. It's just an action movie that was set at Christmas time. Yeah, right, exactly. The action of Christmas. You know?
Yeah. I mean, if the Rolling Stones play a reggae song, it's still a rock and roll song, or whatever. I don't know. Come up with an analogy that makes sense. It's the movie starts with Christmas music. There's Christmas imagery throughout the film, and the whole premise of the film is this guy's flying west to see his wife for the holiday, for Christmas, to see if they can patch up their marriage. Of course it's a Christmas movie. That's just crazy to me.
What's happening when the terrorists get there? What are they involved in? The Christmas party.
It's a Christmas party,
Christmas party, yeah. It's Christmas. It's really kind of just a retelling of that whole Santa tale, just with machine guns and swearing and
and Santa Claus, I believe he's originally German, and Klaus. I mean,
Klaus.
One of the Hans Gruber, he's on the Mount Rushmore of all-time bad guys in a movie, isn't he?
Oh, yes.
Phenomenal.
Because the way he played it, right? He didn't come out and, I can't remember the actor's name, who's now since passed away.
Alan Rickman.
Thank you. Alan Rickman. I thought just played that brilliantly. That was not one of your stereotypical bad guys.
No, the one time he finally shows some when he has real passion, or he allows his emotions to take over, is when Holly says, "You're just a common criminal, a thief." He goes, "I'm an exceptional thief," or whatever, that whole thing. Like, that's what gets his fangs out, it's just a great movie. I also never understood this question: is a hot dog a sandwich? Is anybody on this show gonna say yes, it's a sandwich?
No.
If it's gonna irritate you, I will.
No, but I mean, the fact that people literally say that, well, it's meat and it's between bread, so that's a sandwich. No, it's not.
No,
it's a hot dog. A hot dog's a hot dog. A hamburger's a hamburger, and turkey and cheese is a sandwich. This is not difficult.
What if you split the hot dog down the middle, open her up, put it on a slice of bread, not a bun? What about that, Steve Gorman?
If you do that, A, you're weird, and B, call it what you want. But if you're just talking a straight up Wiener, a hot dog in a bun as God intended, that's just a hot dog. There's no reason to call it a sandwich.
Yeah, I agree. My grandmother used to do that, by the way. Cut them down. And Grandma, why are you cutting the hot dogs and flattening it? Why are you doing that for the bread? Can you just wrap the bread around it?
Yeah.
But she didn't like it rolling around in the microwave.
Oh, well,
so
sure.
She wanted just a flat hot dog.
That's so smart.
Yeah.
We had the first microwave we ever got was way before anybody was really testing these things. You would nuke a hot dog in like 11 seconds. Yep. It would just explode. It was so powerful. And we used to
eat raw ones.
I was so excited to slice the hot dog and stick cheese into the gash.
Steve Gorman.
Come on, man, that was pretty strong. I talked to a guy once. I was working a landscaping job for 1 week, the hardest I've ever worked, and I was fired for not getting enough done. That's another story. But I was working with one of the guys, and this is 1983, Hopkinsville, Kentucky. We had just gotten a Burger King for the first time in town. And one of the guys I was working with, he said, my daddy went over to that Burger King, and he got himself a Whopper. He said that's the best damn sandwich he ever had. And I just never forgot. I was like, a Whopper's not a sandwich. He called it a sandwich. And this guy, this is like a man. I'm like 17. I just graduated high school. This is like a 30-year-old dude. He's like, yeah, Whopper sandwich. I'm like, well, it's just a Whopper. It's a burger. We have this whole conversation. And that guy's looking at me like, and we're looking at each other like we're both from other planets. And eventually I could tell, like, he's about to slap me if I don't shut up about this.
I heard an older woman do that one time. She was in a McDonald's. She said, I'll have a McDonald's sandwich. First of all, it's wrong, and can you be more specific?
Yeah. That's great.
Like my dad when we were a kid and we went to McDonald's and they just had the chicken McNuggets had just rolled out, and Dad wanted to know if he could get a thigh and a leg. They're like, no, Dad, we're not even sure there's chicken in it, Dad. You're definitely not getting a thigh and a leg. You want a thigh and a leg. And that's not KFC, Dad.
How about this? Here's a question, apparently, that's a divisive question. And it's not divisive to me because I'm so confused that it even exists. This, again, I'm not a scientist, and I guess this is how we know. Does a straw have one hole or two?
It doesn't have any holes. It's a tube.
Yeah, one hole or two. According to science, it's one hole. It's one long hole.
I would agree with that.
Oh,
strongly.
Not
agree.
me. I'd immediately go, no, there's two holes. There's the in and the out hole. Suck in, blow out, whatever. Mm-hmm. But apparently the smarty pants out there would laugh at me and say exactly what Candace just did, which is no, it's one. It's just the whole thing's a tube. The whole thing's one long hole. There's a reason that science is not for me because that will never make sense.
Well, let me question you this then. Riddle you this: does it have a top or a bottom? A straw?
Yes. The top is the part in my mouth, and the bottom is the part that's in the milkshake.
There you go.
Yeah, that's exactly what that is. Okay, here's the last one, and on it. Well, you know what? I got two more, and one I'll just answer really quickly. Is it okay to wear socks with sandals? The answer is, of course, if you don't mind looking like a jerk.
First of all, flip-flops. Okay, so every athlete in the world has socks, ankles taped, and that whole thing, and then they put on their flip-flop. You slide into those things, your little. Does that count?
Yeah,
well,
sure.
Are they slides or flip-flops? With the toe separating.
They slide.
They call them thongs.
You can't do a flip-flop with the toe thing if you've got the sock on.
You can force it.
But you don't want to force it because we have better technology. We've developed something else, and that's called the slip-on.
There's a tool for that.
Yeah, exactly. Right. So, that's what I do. I wear socks and slide-ons all the time.
Oh,
yeah. No, that's what I mean. It's unacceptable if you care about how it looks. If you don't care, like me, let it rip. I still wear Birkenstocks, or as some people call them, Jesus Cruisers. And I will, when the winter months come, some days I want to wear those. And yes, I will put on a pair of socks and rock a Jesus Cruiser right over it. And I know it looks ridiculous, and I just don't care, Candace.
Well, you look ridiculous.
Yeah,
Steve.
and that's right. And you know what? I get where I'm going faster than you because I'm still taller. So who cares?
That's mean.
That's not mean. It's just the point of the matter. My feet are doing what they're supposed to do. Nowhere in the rule book does it say feet are supposed to look great. They're supposed to deliver you from point A to point B, and mine do that very well.
What happened to Earth? Do you remember Earth shoes? What happened to those?
I don't remember Earth shoes.
You don't remember Earth shoes? Yeah, well, they were like you're walking in sand, so the front was thicker than the back.
What?
The soles. Seriously, you don't remember Earth shoes?
No, I guess and make it out to my neck of the woods, the Earth shoes. Yeah, I'm not ahead of the curve on fashion, as you know.
What era is this?
It's like 70s.
Sounds like the 70s. Yeah. But did it come with a terrarium? Did it come with an ant farm?
And a mesh shirt. with velour, mesh and velour. If you could get
so
both
that's going to be, let's see, Mrs. Lee, that's Earth Shoes for the Boy and a 9. And does he want the Ant Farm or does he want the Habit Trail? It just sounds like such a
He wears the Huskies, doesn't he?
All right. Okay, we can't
Husky.
keep Danny waiting.
But sorry, I just got to say, that's a word that got lost to the ages. Husky.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's a throwback from day one, yeah.
I was a slim. Yeah, the Huskies with the reinforced knees. All right, we don't want to keep Danny Trejo waiting, so let's get along here. Danny Trejo, the one and only Hollywood badass, promoting cookbooks, holiday sweaters, and a non-alcoholic tequila. He's just a damn good interview, and we're excited to talk to him here at 9 o'clock. Please hang tight.
It's the KQ Morning Show, 92 KQRS. Zep, Tony, Candace, and Steve Gorman are the KQ Morning Show. 92 KQRS.
I have mad respect for actual conga players because, everybody can fake it like me, and then you do that for 5 minutes, and then your hands are just on fire, just killing you. Everyone's like, come on, man, just play those congas. Like, no, it hurts.
Can't you get conga gloves?
You can get conga gloves, but you can work at it all your life. Like people always like, oh, you're a percussionist. I'm like, no, I'm not. No, I'm not. I play drums and cymbals, and I sit down when I do it. I am not a percussionist.
Could you imagine what the other conga players would say if you showed up with conga gloves? Like training wheels, you can't.
Yeah, exactly.
Laughed out laughed out of the club.
Drummer gloves is always the thing to me, and it's like this is just the worst thing ever because every time I've ever put on actual like drummer's gloves, I feel like I play amazingly well. It's like really, it's for whatever reason I'm like, oh my God, this is incredible. But I could never use them publicly because I just think they look so stupid. It's like, I don't have a lot of things where I'm worried about my look or that. There's not a ton of vanity. At least I say that. But then there are certain things where I'm just like I said last segment, I'll wear socks in Birkenstock sandals, sure. But drummer gloves that help me be a better musician, no thank you. Sorry, that's not going to happen. Hey, this is exciting news. Danny Trejo is on the horn with us right now on the KQ Morning Show. I don't even know where to start, Danny, when I try to explain all that you've done and the life you've led. But suffice to say, we're thrilled to have you. Thanks for calling in. Good morning.
Thank you. Good morning.
You are an Angelino, Los Angeles, one of the great food towns on earth, of course, and you now sit on 6 restaurants. When you were opening your first Trejo's Tacos, I mean, were you a little nervous? The competition out there is ferocious.
Yeah, well, I opened a restaurant over on La Brea, and it was kind of fun, but it was funny because some of the motorcycle riders in Orange County said, hey, let's take a trip down there, right? The Harley Davidson guys, right? And then some of the bike riders from Manhattan Beach, and but the difference was one group wears spandex, the other group wears leather. So they all made this trek to my restaurant opening. It was the funniest thing in the world. I mean, this came out in the paper. All these guys in spandex jumping on these big Harley Davidsons and stuff. So we had a blast, so it became just a party. And now, everybody makes a run down there, and it's just, you got to remember, I don't care where your location, what kind of food. If the food's not good, they're coming back.
Yeah, it's pretty simple, actually, when you put it that way. Danny Trejo is on the horn with us right now. So now you've moved on from restaurateur. You've got now your second cookbook where you're sharing your recipes. And some of these are some of these are coming right from home. Like you've got one or two of your mom's recipes in here. But this strikes me as the main thing for you, it seems, and tell me if I'm wrong. You just want to get people started. You leave room for people to put their own twist on these things.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. It's like, what you can do. That's the beautiful thing about a taco. You can put anything you want in a taco, not peanut butter, but just about anything. You know what I mean? And we have a cauliflower taco, absolutely delicious. It's got number 5 Yelps, 5 5 Yelps, 5. It wasn't 5 stars. And we got a jackfruit taco that I can give it to you. You cannot tell it's not meat. You can't tell. It's like all of a sudden you think you're eating shredded beef, and it's like delicious. So, and then we got you bite into a cow if you want to. It's like, so we had this variety of things for people to eat. And then I work with autistic children, and doctors have told me that kids with autism don't do well with gluten. So we have a gluten-free menu. So at 4, 5, 6 o'clock, you'll see families in there with special needs children. You know, because that way mom don't have to cook 3 meals.
Yeah. That's fantastic, Danny. Food's always been a part of your life. Growing up as a kid, it's not just it's like a great meal it's not a special thing. It's just an everyday thing, wasn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. My mom was a great cook, and then even in prison I had a little juice, so I could always order stuff from the kitchen and somebody bring it back for me. You know, and I wouldn't. You know, I don't eat a lot of starch. I don't eat. And now, you know. The way I got in the restaurant business, Ash Shaw, this producer on a film, saw me bringing like a tuna salad. You know, when I didn't want to eat almost catering, and then I eat a tuna salad or something. And he said, "Danny, you eat good." I said, "Yeah, shit, I'm 69 years old. I better eat good." And he said, "Why don't you open a restaurant?" And you know, jokingly, I said, "Trejo's Tacos." Then he brought me a business plan, and I opened it. There are 12 pages. I opened the no killing in the first page, so I gave it to my agent. She kind of said it's a no-brainer. You know, let's do this, and so
that's pretty.
My agent, Gloria Hinojosa, she loves Mexican food too, from Texas. You know?
Right.
Well, Danny, to any good restaurant, you've got the food. That's only half the story. The other half is the good drink that comes with it. I'm curious about this. I see that you have a non-alcoholic tequila. Tequila's got to be the hottest drink in the world right now. A non-alcoholic tequila. Is it good? Does it taste good?
The biggest problem with tequila is spelled backwards. It's you're going to jail.
Yeah, that's true.
You know, I mean,
yeah, I know.
If you get near a car, you're going to jail.
Yeah.
And, you know, and so the problem is that a lot of times when people, especially Christmas parties, you know that you're going to hit one of them roadblocks in L.A. that checks to see if you're drinking or not. And so maybe you don't want to drink, so you order the mocktail, and it works so great, you know, and you're not explaining why you're not drinking.
Yeah.
Well, I like that. Yeah. I mean, I'm curious about the whole non-alcoholic. You said you had some juice when you were in prison. Of course, we all saw the rise of Danny Trejo. What a great documentary about your life. In there, you got the juice because you were just whooping ass. You were a champion boxer in there. Do you think, and then a big Hollywood star, did you have more juice in prison, do you think, or more juice out of prison now? What do you think? Because you're a pretty big deal now.
Oh, I got more juice out of prison. Wow.
Yeah.
I got my own TV.
Danny, the closest I ever got to San Quentin was looking at it from a plane. I'm happy to say, you of course famously did quite a stint there. I mean, can you go back to the guy that was in that cell and remember your mindset? If somebody had given you. If somebody had shown you, oh, by the way, 40 years from now, 45 years from now, this is what your life's going to be, what could you have possibly imagined anything like this?
I did a movie called Blood In, Blood Out. Me and a guy named George Perry, who was my best friend, right? I took him with me to San Quentin. He was in San Quentin in 1939. I was in San Quentin in 1966. And we were best friends. And it's funny, we used to go into my old cell and pray, you know, and just like think, my God, you know, this is like unbelievable. Yeah. We couldn't go into George's old cell because they had knocked that block down and built another wing, and so it was an amazing what do you call it? An amazing journey. Now, I can take you all the way back to my fourth grade teacher, Mrs. Finley, who was always insane about the Amazon River. The Amazon this and the Amazon that. And who cares? We're in East L.A. Are you crazy? I thought it was stupid.
Right.
And cut to 40 years later, I'm on the Amazon River doing Anaconda.
Oh, my God.
And Ice Cube, J-Lo, Eric Stoltz, John Boyd, they're all asking these questions. I knew the answers.
That's incredible.
I couldn't believe it. I said, Mrs. Finley, thank you.
It's absolutely amazing. What a story. I think the thing that blows my mind the most of all that you've accomplished, sir, you also have ugly holiday sweaters for sale on your website, and they are special.
For the code, use ART20 and get 20% off.
Okay. Yeah, I'm going to have to add one of these.
Everything you buy, it's like, it's going to be, the sweaters will win. I got pictures all over them.
Yeah.
Any ugly sweater. I didn't get here being pretty.
Danny, I hear you. I got to go back to your the cookbook. The chorizo burger. It says it's inspired by the Holy Burger Trinity of L.A. In-N-Out, Bob's Big Boy, and Fat Burgers. If you had to choose just one, though, is it an easy choice of those three?
Well, you know what? I don't know. All that food is processed, and it's like I just can't get into meat sitting around for days.
I got you.
And so like everything it's fresh. It's got to be fresher, but we don't need it. And anything there a day it goes out to the homeless. So
yeah.
And I know restaurants. You buy 50 pounds of meat. It's just in that freezer.
Right.
So,
I hear you.
And that's just the way it is. I mean, In-N-Out burgers are great, but again, it's like I like fresh meat.
Sure.
I like stuff that you get right from the butcher.
Yeah.
TrejoStore.com is the website if you want to check out these sweaters. If you want to order the cookbooks, they've got signed copies for sale. TrejoStore.com. Danny, there's so many moments in your life that are beyond iconic. I'm just going to share it with you. I always think first, your head riding on a tortoise in Breaking Bad.
Yes.
A moment.
That was one of the best episodes. In fact, they did that first, and then after that, they called me back for double the money because they had to show the first of that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They wrote, they had that way. Now we got to bring this character back. So
that was a true moment where watching the show and where I was watching it with a few people and we all nobody could breathe for about 3 minutes. It was spectacular, man. There are far worse things you could be remembered for. The whole run you've had these last few decades from all of us here at the KQ Morning Show continued. Best of luck to you, man. It's just a joy to watch you continue to roll along, brother.
You should know
holiday season, drink responsibly if you're going to drink, or order a mocktail.
There you go.
Yeah.
Right on. Thank you, Danny.
Yeah, he had to go. I wanted to tell him that I forced my guy friend to watch Spy Kids the other night. It was torture for him, but amazing for me.
It's fantastic. I tell you what, man. There's a big podcast called The Rewatchables that Bill Simmons always does where they just rewatch a movie and talk about it. And one of the categories is, would this movie be better with Danny Trejo? They discuss every movie. There's a few actors they name, but he's one of them. Man, he is one in a billion, that guy. Absolutely true. I need to mention that you, if you're interested, could go for a sale on Chris Jericho's Rock and Wrestling Rager at Sea. Chris Jericho's Rock and Wrestling Rager at Sea is back for its 5th installment, 5 Alive. And we're going to send one winner and a guest on this sold-out voyage. You will sail from Miami to Cozumel on the Norwegian Pearl. It's a 4-day adventure combining the best rock and roll, wrestling, comedy, live podcasts, paranormal explorations, and all-around outrageous moments smack dab in the middle of the ocean. Right now, text the national keyword rock, or if you prefer, rock, to 95819. Rock. Text to 95819 right now. Enter for a chance to win.
It's the KQ Morning Show, 92 KQRS.
I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show. If you miss any part of this show, we do make it easy for you to catch up. You can get anywhere you get podcasts, you can listen to this show. The in-depth interviews, like the one we just had with Danny Trejo, in case you missed that. Danny Trejo, he of all the cool Danny Trejo stuff, was just with us at the top of the hour. Anywhere you get podcasts, I should say, search the KQ Morning Show podcast. You can always get a 92 KQRS app at the App Store. The podcast is sponsored by our good friends at Devani's Pizza and Hot Hoagies.
Yes.
Yeah,
Enough said.
Yeah,
as I said. You know it.
I thought that was pretty clear.
It was crystal clear.
A little
Do you
obscure.
think they're starting to regret sponsoring the podcast?
No.
They love me.
They do love you. They love you almost as much as you love them,
Yeah,
Candace.
I
That's
hope
why it's
so.
a match made in radio heaven.
I think we're on the same page.
We just spoke with Danny Trejo, and as we were speaking, I went to his website to share that link with folks that wanted to maybe get the cookbooks or the sweaters. And we hit a commercial break. My friend Tony Lee from the KQ Morning Show forwarded me an article about my buddy Darius Rucker. Now, before I tell you what it's about, on that article, when I opened the link, advertisements for Danny Trejo's sweaters.
Yes.
Seriously.
That's just how it works. The browser knows what you were just browsing, and now I'm inundated with Danny Trejo ads, which is fine, but I'm just saying it's always still chilling to go, oh, for God's sakes. I should just get over it. But anyway, speaking of Darius Rucker, Candace and I both saw Darius Rucker this past summer, and now Hootie and the Blowfish are going to be on the road in 24. A bunch of dates. They're not playing the Twin Cities. They are playing right over the state line in Wisconsin at that outdoor gig whose name escapes me.
Somerset?
Thank you. They're going to be there. But check this out. Darius Rucker is getting a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame on December 4th.
Cool.
That's a pretty big deal.
Sweet.
Yeah, I mean, that's ginormous. Good for him. He's a good dude. A lot of rock stars, rocker musicians already have stars there. I just looked at the list. Bryan Adams got his star in 2011, and Wayne Gretzky was there. You know, those Canadians all stick together. Not surprisingly, the Beatles have a star. Jack Black has a star on the Walk of Fame. That checks out. David Bowie, Alice Cooper, Candace's friends in The Doors have a star.
Oh, I love that star. I got a couple pictures with that star, laying around it on the very clean streets of L.A.
Now, when they got that star in 2007, only 2 of the 3 surviving Doors were there. Anyone want to take a guess as to which one didn't go?
Our drummer buddy.
That would be John Densmore.
Yeah, that makes
he ain't
sense.
got no time for that kind of nonsense. Yeah, no, it's very funny to see Krieger and Manzarek like, hey, we got a star. And, Densmore was at home, literally comparing dental floss. This one's better than that one. He's just doing his own thing, man. He's awesome.
I wonder how they determine that. Who gets the star? I mean, it's not how big of a star. Al Pacino doesn't have one.
What?
Julia Roberts doesn't have
Oh,
one.
my
Denzel
God.
Washington doesn't have one. Leonardo DiCaprio doesn't have one. I'm just on a website of
Really?
people that don't have stars. Yeah.
Well, some of those folks probably are offered, and they're like, I don't want to mess with that nonsense.
Brad Pitt does not have a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. It's kind of now that I look at it, Steve Martin, James Earl Jones, George Clooney, Christopher Walken. Actually, it's not cool to have a star on the Hollywood. Clint Eastwood doesn't have one.
Al Pacino, dude? Come on, man.
I tell you what, I'm not taking mine until they get Julia in there. That's my new rule. You can offer it, but until she's up there, no way. No thank you. Hey, if you've got any old Google accounts that you haven't used in a while, Gmail accounts, Like the kind you have just so you can open burner accounts of other sorts.
Yeah.
If you haven't used them in at least 2 years, they're going to be gone by Friday. Google is clearing house, and they're going to shut down all the account. I mean, email, photos, calendars, documents, anything you have in a Google account that you have not signed into in 2 years is about to be deleted. So if you can possibly log back in and want to, you better do it pretty quick.
Otherwise.
I would like to think I would think that across the board, like social media sites, there should be some way to just purge. Like if you're on Twitter or Facebook or Instagram and you haven't posted in like 2 years, I think they should just shut your account down. Just get rid of it. And I only say that because the @Steve Gorman Twitter hasn't tweeted in 13 years, and it just pisses me off that I can't get that handle.
I know. I check every morning.
Thank you. I appreciate it, because some days I forget, and you're always looking out for me. When I got on Twitter at first, I was like, oh, there's already an @Steve Gorman, and then I did kind of take a look at it, and then a few years later, and the guy's never tweeted, and I even followed him. I even followed him and tweeted at him like, hey, dude, get back to me, would you? Let's do this. Nothing. My band Trigger Hippie, there was a person who was at Trigger Hippie, contacted her. She said, yeah, you can have the name. I don't care. Isn't that nice? That's the way it should be.
Yeah, that is nice. I mean, at least try and make a buck off of it. Just don't ghost disappear. Just
the guy's just he's just gone. Never. He opened it up and then just held out, I guess, or for all I know, he's dead. That's why they should purge it. Guy's dead.
Maybe he's a Luddite, He tried. He, dipped his toe in there. I'm going to get a Twitter account, and then got the account, went, on second thought.
You know what I think it was? I think he was on his Rumspringa. He was an Amish guy doing that 6 months out in the real world.
Yep.
And then he went back in, put on the black cloak, and then never looked back.
That'd be a hell of a Twitter account. Steve Gorman on his, what would you call it, Rumspringa?
Rumspringa. Isn't that what they call that?
Probably, yeah.
The lost weekend for all young Amish people. Like when they turn 18, they send you out in the world. Basically, I think, now I may have some of this wrong, but I'm pretty sure what they do is you turn 18 and they give you a bindle of cocaine and a map of strip clubs, and they say, go, and 6 months from now decide if you're back or you're staying out or coming back. It's something like that.
Is it too late to become Amish?
I don't know. They run wild. That's all I'm saying,
The
Candace.
Amish guy I hooked up with is just had a bunch of tea in his van. He didn't have any cocaine.
The Amish guy you hooked up with. But see, he wasn't like a 18-year-old. He was not on his Rumspringa. He was a guy who had grown up and left and obviously didn't go back, but he was still carrying around some of the Amish stuff, is what I understand.
I'm not sure how old he was. I don't know.
So you could kiss her.
He was for sure not 18, okay, everyone? Relax.
Well, that's okay.
He was I met him in a bar, so he's obviously not that Amish.
He wasn't quite 18?
Stop it.
Wow, Candace.
Stop it.
Anyways.
Two of you.
I'm going to get in trouble.
I pretty much, on a regular basis, anytime. Well, I don't want to do it too often, but at least once a month, I like to mention something about Amish, knowing that Candace will then say, well, this Amish guy I hooked up with. That's just a highlight for me. Call me crazy.
Something I always wanted to do, and I'm proud that I did it.
Checked it off.
I always wanted to do. I grew up watching Witness, and I love that movie so much. And he kind of looked like Harrison Ford. I'll be honest with you. Witness is a pretty good movie, man. It holds up. Just saying. I mean, I can't think of another movie where there's so much silo play. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah.
Suffocating in the silo.
Harrison Ford's in it, right?
Yeah. Hank Ford, Harry Ford, whatever you call him.
Yeah, he kicks ass in that.
That
punching
airplane,
Amish man.
Hey, that airplane that landed up on the street up a little north. What was that in Brooklyn Park yesterday? That wasn't Harrison Ford flying that plane, was it?
Oh gosh, no. But he does like to crash land, doesn't he?
He sure does.
On a golf course once.
No, he'll drop a plane with the best of them. And you know why no one cares? Because he's Harrison Ford.
Yeah, it's cool.
Literally just lands a plane where it shouldn't be, and he gets out, and everyone's like, hey, dude, it's totally fine. You got juice when you literally crash land a plane more than once. Think about that.
Yeah.
How many people have crashed a plane more than once? Harrison Ford's done it like 3 times.
Right.
That's fine. It's totally cool. I just planted those soybeans, but Harrison, that's totally cool. That's fine. The plane looks great right there. Just let her rip.
Yeah.
Good to be Harrison Ford. Hey, how about a history lesson? A little sports and music history lesson.
This man is a creative genius. This gift that Steve has, It goes beyond just
sports and music history.
You understand?
So, what happened?
Oh, I'll tell you what happened on November the 29th. In 1890, which is a million years ago, the first time ever Army and Navy played in college football. The game was played at West Point, and the Navy kicked the Army's ass 24-0. Just as a kid who grew up right next to Annapolis, I still have a soft spot for the Navy. I see the Navy, and I'm like, yeah, go Navy. Come on, man, do it. Army-Navy football goes back to 1890. That's just damned impressive. That's all. The one time everybody in America cares is when they play on the gridiron. So it's a good thing. In 1972, all of our lives changed on this day when a little game called Pong was released. Pong. Listen to that blip. Listen to that.
God.
That is the sound of competition, Candace. That is the sound of video technology from the future.
Oberg's going to call in here pretty soon. I can fix that.
Man, there was some heated Pong. Pong all over the world. When Pong found itself into a console that you could put in your home on your own TV, let me tell you something. There were some Pong wars. I mean, ooh boy.
They play by yourself. Ambidextrous. You ever try that? Left hand, right hand, left hand, right hand.
Oh sure, yeah.
And then you get dialed in.
I'm going to leave this on your voicemail.
No, listen to those sounds.
I'm like,
my heart is racing.
Out.
My pulse is quickening right now at the sound of Pong. Man, and by the way, never played Pong once in my life stoned. I was a kid. Imagine doing that when you were stoned. That would have been great. Just you start Dark Side of the Moon and you try to match it to the downbeats of the thing as it gets faster and faster. No, I swear to God, if you start Pong 9 seconds into the first song on Dark Side of the Moon, it matches up perfectly. Yeah, Candace, you missed it.
I want great. Tony Lee's job. I'm going to play weird
you got to study for years and years.
That's exactly right. Too late now. You're on the. You're just too late to switch tracks, Candace. I'm sorry.
Certified. There's an initiation process.
Blood spilled.
Oh my gosh! On this day in the year 2000, Don McClain, not the American Pie Don McClain, but Don McClain of the Miami Heat, became the first player in NBA history to get busted for steroids, receiving a 5-game suspension. Now, this guy was a bit of a journeyman. 7 different teams in 9 years. He was on 4 other rosters, but never appeared on the court for those teams. Best year of his career came in his second year. He literally averaged 18 points a game in his second year in the league, but that was really it. He was kind of a hit and miss guy. But he was busted for using steroids. Charles Barkley at the time said, "This can't be true. I've seen Don McClain naked. No way does he use steroids." Which is just great. That's as good a line as you're going to get out of that situation.
The KQ Morning Show, 92 KQRS.